Tomorrow is the trade deadline. Tomorrow, I believe at 4 o'clock, is the NFL trade deadline, and there are a whole boatload of names that may get traded or may stay put. And being that it's Halloween, I have a lucky number 13 players that I'm going to go over and whether I think they're going to be traded, and if they will, who will they be traded to, or who will they not be traded to. Starting off with, I have a trio of Broncos players, that being Bradley Chubb, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. Broncos were definitely going to be sellers if they lost yesterday's game to the Jaguars. They won that game. Now it's really up in the air. They have 3 wins. They aren't exactly out of things, but it looked rough yesterday. They won in spite of Russell Wilson and the offense. So starting off on the defensive side of things, Bradley Chubb. Reports emerged this morning. He's linked with the Dolphins and the Jets, both teams willing to give up a first-round pick for him. And there's also been reports about the Vikings. As a Dolphins fan, I like Bradley Chubb, but I don't like the idea of paying him an extension with how inconsistent he is, how injury-prone he is. You just drafted Jalen Phillips, or rather, let's see him develop. And we also have other guys on the defensive line that we have to sign to extensions, Wilkins and Zeeler. However, I do think he will be traded, but I don't think it's going to be tied to the Dolphins or the Jets. I think the Vikings, they're 6-1. They have had themselves a great start to the season. They have a good defense, not a great defense though. They get to play their division, and they're going to roll through their division. However, when they get to the playoffs, they're going to be probably the second best team in the NFC this year. And the Eagles are not looking like they're going to lose any time from now on the rest of the season. So you need to go out, add some defensive help, add Bradley Chubb. I think he will be traded. Jerry Jeudy, again, reports today, linked to the Giants, linked to the Dolphins, linked to the Bills. I don't think he's going to be traded. I think Jerry Jeudy's going to stay home. He's still in a rookie deal. Had himself a great game yesterday. Maybe him and Russell Wilson amend things out. I think Jerry Jeudy's going to stay, but I think his wide receiver teammate, KJ Hamler, will be traded. We've seen links to the Bills, to the Cowboys, to the Ravens. I think the Cowboys makes a lot of sense. The Cowboys really need wide receiver help, and I have them going in again later on this list, getting some wide receiver help. So that that Broncos trio of Chubb, Jeudy, and Hamler, I see Chubb and Hamler being dealt out. Now we move over to the other side of the country in the AFC. What division is that? AFC North. There we go. AFC North. Running back Kareem Hunt. The Browns, apparently, they'll be willing to move off him for a 4th-round pick. Assuming that tonight he doesn't get hurt. I'm recording this earlier in the day. I don't know anything that happens. Maybe after this episode airs, somebody already got dealt. If so, I'm sorry. But Kareem Hunt. We've seen links to the Dolphins. Links to the Bills, links to the Eagles. Eagles are looking for a running back. Actually, somebody who I completely forgot to list, but I will list later on. That being Alvin Kamara. So sorry, not lucky number 13, but we're still gonna do it. Kareem Hunt though, Dolphins, Bills, Eagles. I think he will be traded, and I think he's coming to Miami. And I'm personally all for it. I would even give him a little bit of an extension, maybe a 2 or 3 year extension for $8 million, $8 to $10 million. You have him and Raheem Mostert. I love that backfield. I think so makes a lot of sense. Also, the Bills and the Eagles make a lot of sense. So I think he will be dealt. Any of those 3 makes sense. And there's a few other teams, maybe even going back to the Chiefs, that makes sense to me. But I like to think he's coming down here to the Miami Dolphins. I'll spoil it now. Another player that I think is going to the Miami Dolphins, William Jackson, corner from the Washington Commanders. Loves to play man-to-man coverage. Is discontent with how things are going there in Washington, even though they're 4-4. He asked for a trade very recently. I think he will be traded, and again, I think he's coming down here. We've seen links between the Vikings, the Dolphins, the Chargers. Chargers defense is beat up, and they really need to add players because it's not working how Staley and co planned it to be. You see that J.C. Jackson's going to be out for the rest of the season. They need corner help. I think it makes sense for them, but I think he will be coming here to the Dolphins. I promise that's the last time I mention the Dolphins. I know I'm a Dolphins fan. It sounds biased. I get it. So I'm not mentioning the Dolphins for the rest of this video. Moving on to the only quarterback on this list. Jameis Winston of the New Orleans Saints was a not healthy scratch, but a healthy bench yesterday to Andy Dalton, of all guys. So do the Saints look to deal him? I've seen a few reports. Mostly not really reports, just people talking. Jets, the Colts, who they don't want to bring Matt Ryan back. Sam Ehlinger obviously isn't the guy. And the Giants. Ultimately, though, I think he stays put where he is. I don't think quarterbacks really get traded mid-season like that, and I don't think any of those teams believe they're getting that big enough of an upgrade to dish out capital to go get Jameis Winston. Now we have a run on wide receivers, and I think I have them listed as every single one of these receivers I have listed as getting traded, starting with DJ Moore. I've seen links to the Ravens, to the Cowboys, to the Titans, to the Packers. He had a great game yesterday, and just if he could have kept his helmet on for like 5 more seconds, doesn't get that personal foul call, doesn't back his kicker up, he probably doesn't miss the extra point, and the Panthers go on to win the game. Had a great play right before that, but then cost the team. I do think he still gets traded, maybe even more so after that, how he helps the team and it hurt him such quick succession. I think he does get traded, and I have so much to say about this. I'll keep it brief. I think he gets traded to the Titans. I think it's really stupid because why didn't you just keep A.J. Brown and find a way to make it work financially? However, I think they've realized they're wrong, and you can't go back in the past. So I think what they're going to do is go out and get DJ Moore. Titans, number 2 seed right now, even above the Chiefs. So I think they make a run at DJ Moore or any of these next few guys. Next one I'm going to have is Curtis Samuel from the Commanders. Commanders, again, are so weird. They have such good offensive personnel, and yet the offense still sucks, mostly probably due to quarterback and coaching. And one of the members of that offense, Curtis Samuel, has had links to the Ravens, the Cowboys, and the Packers. I think the most likely one here is the Ravens. I think the Ravens, being that they're a run-focused team, they're not going to put together the capital to go get one of the top receivers that are available. But Curtis Samuel would come in alongside Devin Duvernay, alongside Rashad Bateman, fight to be the number 1 receiver on this offense. So you still get an upgrade without blowing the bank like you will for a DJ Moore or for a Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has been linked to the Packers, to the Cowboys, or even returning back to the Patriots I've seen. I think, again, he will be traded, and I think he'll be traded to the Packers. Packers are 3-5. They looked really bad last night. They couldn't throw the ball at all. It was just check down or handing it off to Aaron Jones all night long. They're 3-5. They're looking outside in on the playoffs. I think they still go for it, and by doing that, going out and getting one of these receivers, I have them getting Brandon Cooks. Makes a lot of sense to me. Chase Claypool of the Steelers has had a real up and down career with the Steelers so far. Had a great first season, and it hasn't replicated that success since. I've seen links with the Cowboys, with the Jets, with the with the Patriots. I think any of those 3 makes sense. But I personally have him going to the Cowboys. I think his personality fits the Cowboys a lot. Is it a good idea? Who knows? But the Cowboys are in such need for wide receiver help after letting Amari Cooper go, after letting Cedric Wilson go, haven't replaced either of those 2. CeeDee Lamb's been out there by himself recently and taking all the double coverages. I think they get at least 1 wide receiver, but on this list, I have them going and getting 2 wide receivers. That's the last of the run of receivers for me. Lastly, 4 more to go because I did add 1 at the end. Josh Allen. Not the Josh Allen, but still a very good Josh Allen from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars losing in London yesterday. They looked great for all of 10 minutes earlier in the season, looking like they could potentially make a run for the playoffs. That has quickly collapsed on top of them. I've seen leaks. I've seen links to the Chiefs, to the Bills, to Eagles. Makes sense. Those are the 3 best teams in football, and every single team could use an extra pass rusher. I think he actually will not be traded. I think that this Jaguars team is in desperate need for stars, and I think he's going to get an extension from this team as they continue to look to build out the defense, build out this team as a whole. And I think he's going to see staying put with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cam Akers. The Rams have tried to replace him. The Rams have tried to move on from him. They've been trying to move off of him for a couple weeks now. He's not been the same guy since tearing his Achilles, and there's clearly something going on wrong there because he was out for just personal reasons. So there's clearly something going on there, but I don't think he's going to be traded. The Rams haven't been able to find a replaceable running back for him. Maybe Kareem Hunt's also somebody. Another team that might be in for him is the Rams. Makes a lot of sense. But I don't think they're able to go out and get anybody, especially after falling to 3-5. Maybe they question whether they want to give up even more assets than they already have in recent years. So I think he's linked to I've seen links to the Dolphins, to the Chiefs, to the Ravens. However, I think Cam Akers will be staying put with the Rams. And Mike Gesicki, last one officially on this list before an honorable mention, so I'm still going to title it 13. If y'all got to this point, you clearly don't care. Mike Gesicki of the Dolphins. I've been very critical of Mike Gesicki up to this point in his career. Not necessarily his career, but actually more so just this year. I don't know how much he fits this Mike McDaniel scheme. He got in the end zone. He's gotten in the end zone, I believe, now 3 games in a row. So I'm a little bit easing off the gas a little bit. However, I still don't necessarily think he fits this offensive system. But I don't think he will be traded. We've seen links to the Broncos, not the Broncos, actually, the Buccaneers, to the Cowboys, to the Packers. It makes a lot of sense for the Buccaneers to go and get him. I think him and Brady would be a fantastic duo. But I think Gesicki stays put. This team is pushing forward with hopes of a championship this season. Are they realistic? We'll see in the next few weeks, but I don't think he's going to be traded. And finally, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, the biggest name probably on this list. Save the best for last. We've seen links to the Eagles. We've seen links to the Bills, links to the Chiefs. We've seen links to every good team in football pretty much, but I don't think he's going anywhere. He is the best player on that Saints roster. What he did last night, not last night, but I said was criminal. He is unreal. He's all the Saints got. They gave him that big extension. I don't think he's going anywhere. This has been the best 13 players that I could come up with that might be traded. Let me know down below. Where do you think these stars are going to be going this coming trade deadline? Or do you think they're staying put? Please let me know down in the comments below of this video.